Hey, I'm the person that he's talking about where he's saying Larry Smiley, Siyf. If you want to know me, it's Siyf Muhammad L. I got that name, in a transformation, a transformation to where had he met Youngster Young or Haircut or the Chameleon, you know, it wouldn't be as much talk as it is right now.
I paid a nigga named Larry Smiley who has his own network and who had been begging us, really should I say begging me, to release the project on his network. I say, you know, we'll consider it once the project is complete. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the type of nigga, I want to look at all options. What's best? You know what I'm saying? What's gonna bring in the most revenue?
I don't beg nobody for nothing. Um, what happened is when this project was brought to my attention, Abdul is the one who called me and told me, like, hey, I just got interviewed by these brothers who they're doing a documentary about how the gangs came to Fort Worth. I was like, okay. Um, and then Abdul told me, hey, I told them about the network and I gave them your number because, you can explain it better than I can. And I said, okay. And I waited for the call. And as a side note, you have to look at who we're talking about now. We're talking about Abdul Chappelle. There's a lot of people that the man knows. There's a lot of different, shows and interviews and things of that nature that he's been on. And, you got all these people watching and he's telling people about the network. And so, just with his efforts alone, man, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And so, anyway, they called. They both did. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you the text messages where we were texting back and forth. And, you know, this was presented to me from the beginning as them two together. This wasn't Toonz project. It was Supreme and Toon. I'm going to show you the text messages between us. I'm going to show you, what was given to me. And so, when they called, we had several conversations. I'm going to show you I'm going to show you the phone records and the matching text messages so that you we're going to put all of this in context. And so the night that we had the actual conversation as to where the project was going to be released, that was the night that I explained to them the what our network was about. I told them that it was an alternative outlet. It sits outside of but runs adjacent to the mainstream industry. I built it because I've been around the block more than a couple of times. I've worked with the celebrity crowd. I've worked with the up and coming crowd. I've you know, and I've done it in almost all states, all contiguous states in the United States. Reality shows, music videos, feature films, the whole nine. I attended Texas Southern University as well as Alvin Community College. Um, when I attended Texas Southern University, I worked in the TV studio. I I taught a peer tutor, as a man. I taught what I do at Texas Southern, and it just baffles me that this guy is trying to play the victim when what actually happened is he was trying to run a play, and Supreme figured it out and played some defense. That's what happened, and I'm going to show it to you. And so, you shouldn't have drugged me into this. I I don't like being in the middle of some mess. I don't to try to put some smut on my name as if I done something wrong. I was the one. I was the first one. Well, I'm not gonna say that I was the first one because I don't know what everybody else was saying at that time. When Toonz first told me that they wouldn't be working together again, I was like, man, why not? And then I said, you know what, that's y'all's business. And I was like, look, man, y'all, this is a good project. I think y'all make a good team. I think y'all should, try to work it out and work together. And he was like, nah, we're not gonna work together anymore. So I left that alone. That was early on. And so this was after that conversation. Let me get back to that conversation. And so I told him about the network. And so we had this conversation, the how it when we got to the money part, because he's talking about that, about the money. And so YouTube pays fractions of a penny on the dollar. And I told them, I said, look, man, for 1 million views, YouTube is going to pay you between $2,500 and $4,000. And so Supreme was like, nah, Siyf, the number is higher. And, we got online and they was researching on their end. I was researching on my end. The information that I had was the information that was given to me by YouTube, when I was getting a check from them. And so the new information, I did run across that. And so the new information says that YouTube, for 1 million views, YouTube would pay $10,000. And I said, okay, let's run with that number, $10,000. And I told him, I said, look, on our network, you can set the price. We can put it on there as a pay-per-click or pay-per-view situation, and you can charge $1. I said, now let's just look at it. YouTube, 1 million views, $10,000. The UBN, 1 million views, $1 million. YouTube, $10,000. UBN, $1 million. I was like, what is there to think about? And so, because he was saying, what's best for the project, as far as the money is concerned, and, so on and so forth. And so, I told him, I understand that you have your following over on YouTube and Instagram and what have you. I understand that. And I told him, I was like, man, those platforms, when you release this kind of media to their platforms, they are making dollars and paying you fractions of a penny on the dollar for what you slaved for, what you worked hard for. Use your time, your money, and all of this. I was like, man, financially speaking, the network is the better place. I said, and then what I told him was, I said, man, this is a story about the city of Fort Worth. I said, it's a win-win situation when you release a piece of media like this, a story about Fort Worth, on a network that is based out of Fort Worth. Now, I can't remember all of the different things that we talked about. They had a lot of questions about the network, and neither one of them really truly understood what I was saying until they came here where I'm sitting right now, and I showed it to them. I took them in the back office and I showed them where I upload the videos. I am in control of what goes on my network and what's not on my network. Nobody can say what can and can't go on my network. I showed them where you can go on Roku and watch whatever you want to, watch the live broadcast side of it. I showed them that it was coming, that the feed is coming out of here, the radio station. I showed them the radio room, which is in the next room, where the radio signal is coming out live. We have the pay per view, the or pay per listen, and we have the ability to do podcasts and just the whole nine. And then the other thing is, if any one of you sitting out in the audience watching this, if you wanted to have your own radio station or TV station or on demand situation, we can service that. And we switch the paradigm. Now, mind you, this is what I'm telling them. We switch the paradigm. We get the pennies, and the content producer gets the dollars. And so, fast forwarding, after he had brought me the project, and we're gonna go around, but I'm just addressing this issue. And so I didn't say anything else to him about it. And so I started getting communications from Toonz, but not Supreme. And I asked, I was about to do the credits for the video, and I asked Toonz, I said, "Hey man, did y'all ever make a decision on where you was gonna release it to?" And the reason why I asked them that is because I was doing the credits and the graphics. I did the motion graphics in that piece, the motion graphics, the intro. See, they originally he paid me to clean up the audio, and because of the project and because I like both of them, I said, okay, I'm gonna do the audio, but I'm gonna do this, that, and the third more. And what this, that, and the third more is the lower thirds, the title sequence, the title sequence and the ending credits with the music that goes with the title sequence and the ending credits. I did the color grading on it. It looks the way that it looks because I did that. His logo revealer at the beginning, I did his. Supreme's, I did his. I threw those in there. And so when I was doing the credits, I was asking because when we release something on the network, man, we do what all of the rest of them do. If Netflix is releasing something, you're going to see the Netflix logo revealer before the movie comes on. And so that's why I was asking, had they made a decision? And if he would have told me yes, well, I would have put ours on there. And because he told me no, I didn't put it on there. That's all I was asking for. And when he started explaining, I was like, nah, I'm just asking because I'm doing the credits. And, told him what I just told you. And so this notion that I begged him is totally false. I don't beg nobody for nothing. I don't have to.
Lil' bro, I tried to work things out. Everybody's saying I wish y'all could have work things out. I wish things could have went differently because y'all got a hell of a project on y'all's hands. But I want to say, like, I tried.
So he was saying that he tried to work it out. Now, what you're going to see is text messages where I was sending the man text messages trying to get him and Supreme together on the phone. Supreme was willing to talk to the guy. But he was unwilling. He told me, and you'll see in the text message, he told me, I don't need you to talk. I had offered, in this particular text message, I had offered to, talk to Supreme to get them in a mode to where they could talk, to get this thing good. Man, nobody involved wanted to see this happen. And so I had offered to get them together so they can start talking. And he told me what you're going to see in the text. He was like, man, I don't need you to, you know, talk to him about this. You know, you'll read the text message. And so previous to that, I had, you know, we had conversations. I don't have no recordings. I didn't, you know, record the dude or nothing like that. But I was like, hey man, this is what I told him. I said, say man, I understand that y'all not gonna do business anymore in the future. I said, but y'all need to co-parent this baby that you just had. You need to at least see this business all the way through. He told me I don't have nothing to say to him. And then and then when all of it, when everything was coming to a head, he gonna try to tell me that he didn't say that. Man, I damn near jumped through the phone on the dude. That was the first time that I got verbally aggressive with him. And I was telling him, Nick, you're not finna say that you didn't say something and you know you did. You're not finna put me out there like that. Because when he said that, man, Supreme was actually asking. And I told Supreme what the man said. In fact, there was another brother at the meeting. We were in a meeting that morning. And I told both of them what he said. And they was like, damn, nobody wanted to see this go the way that it's gone. And so I was the whole time trying to get them back together to at least co-parent this baby. That is not what when he says that he tried, okay, maybe he did afterwards. But during that time, during the whole time that all of this was going on, that I know of, it's not, no, that's not what he did.
He sees another name that has been added, which is Siyf, Larry Smiley, who has his own network that doesn't do shit, that hasn't took off, it doesn't get views, nobody's tuned in, nobody knows about it. Like, yo, this is probably the first time you're hearing about it right now. Am I correct? You could be from Fort Worth. This is the first time that you're hearing about it. Am I correct? So Supreme goes to Siyf, tells Siyf, I'll let you release this on your network if you give me the project. Siyf subsequently quits answering my calls, quits returning my calls, becomes impossible to get a hold of until the trailer drops. So boom, the trailer drops. I get blocked from Instagram.
None of this would have happened if he wouldn't have done what he done. He did this. And I'm in a position where he drugged me into this, me and the network that I'm building. He drug us into the middle of this. And so I have the files. And I'm going to show you I'm going to show you the files. I'm going to show you what he gave me and what I did to the documentary. And see, let's get something straight here. There's a guy, an old white guy in Atlanta. When Toonz did the voiceover for this documentary, he went to this studio where, you know, it's older white gentleman, and the man told him that, hey man, if y'all shorten it, you can qualify for an Academy Award. And so they considered that, and the documentary was gutted. Okay, it was gutted. Now, who took what out? I don't know. But what I do know is that Supreme didn't have the hard drive. He's never had the hard drive. And so, that being the case, well, you know, we're gonna use deductive reasoning and say that Toonz is the one who made these changes. Now, Supreme may have known about it. I don't know. I can't speak on that. What I do know is, from what I was told, the original documentary is over 2 hours long. The one that was released is about 40 minutes long, about 40, 40 some odd minutes. And Toon presented the project to me as pretty much finished because it's time to do the audio. And so when I got it and I'm sitting there looking at it, I'm like, man, I mean, there were a number of things that concerned me about the project. I was like, man, how the first thing out the chute was, how are you gonna have this conversation and you don't have nobody on here from Lake Como? Where's the representation for Lake Como? And so he was saying, well, I talked to Abdul, but if you look at the video, Abdul said Las Vegas Trail. That's two different. That's two different areas. Hell, from Como it takes about 10 minutes to get to Las Vegas Trail, to get over there to that area. And that's not to say that Abdul didn't run the turf out in Lake Como. Anyone who says that he didn't, they would be fools. Abdul was one of those guys who carried the hood on his back, Lake Como. So I don't want no one to twist my words into saying that there's that I'm making a dip saying that Abdul is nothing like. No, it ain't that. Abdul was speaking for Las Vegas Trail because in the video he says he is the founder of the first Texas-based Crip set in Fort Worth. And in that same breath, he said there were already sets here. He said great 60s faux tray that Boot brought down here. So we're talking about two different situations. And so I was asking the question, hey man, how can you have this conversation and have no Lake Como representation? And so at that time, I was told, hey man, would you get in the video? I was interviewed. And that's how I ended up in there. And so at this time, when my part was added, that's what made it, over 40 minutes. At the time, I think it was 37 minutes when I got it. It was 37 minutes, and then my parts were added, and it made it, over a little bit over 40 minutes. And he's saying that like the statement that he made in the video saying, how do you take Charleston White out? First of all, Charleston is still in the video. Now, you have to look at when you see the timeline, you're going to see that I'm coming from a place of what was provided to me as far as the audio to be cleaned up. It was presented to me as finished. Charleston White was in the video. So Charleston, I'm speaking directly to Charleston White now. Man, don't let this man cause you to say some derogatory things about Supreme. Supreme ain't the one who did that. You're still in the video, and as a matter of fact, so look, when I in Charleston, I'm still talking to you as well as everyone else, but I'm talking directly to Charleston. So the other thing that I forgot to say is that I cut the trailer because I was telling you, all of the things that I gave them, when he paid me to do the audio, well, I gave them some things and I named some stuff, and I forgot to mention that I'm the one who did the trailer. The first version of the trailer didn't have you in it, Charleston, and it wasn't to purposely leave you out. It was because of what everyone was saying. When you look at that trailer and you listen to what everyone who's in the trailer is saying, it builds up to the end plate. which is the graphic, the blood and the crip at the end. And so Supreme looked at the trailer and he was like, Siyf. He said, it ain't done. I'm like, what you mean? He was like, man, it ain't done. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? And I said, now mind you, man, this is a After Effects project. I got to go back into a project that is, man, it's got a lot of moving parts, a lot of layers, a lot of, this, that, and the third. I need you to consider that. He was like, look, man, we can't leave Charleston out. That's what the man told me. I went and I thought about it. I was like, okay, you sure right. I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna put him in. Supreme did that. So don't let this dude make it seem like that Supreme was out to cut anybody out. Abdul, man, we didn't have the files. He had them. Toonz had the hard drive. So when I got the project, I only copied so here's what happened. I was only getting the audio so I could clean up the audio. And I told him, I say, man, Toonz had to go. He was short on time. And so I told him, I say, well, look, copying the, exporting the video part of it so that I know what I'm, so I can see what I'm working with as far as the audio is concerned. I said, we can export it out or you can just copy it to me. It'll take longer to export it out. He was like, okay, let's copy it. And then he had an issue with me just copying the hard drive. And I was like, nah, we don't have to do that. There's this feature in there. I took him in there in Premiere where you can go in there and tell Premiere, hey, I just want you to export what's in the timeline. And that's what we did. And so I exported what was in the timeline so that I could work with the audio. But then when he told me to add my part, I was like, well, man, I need the files. And then I looked at what it was doing, and it was giving me the clips that were already in the time. So I was able to work with that, to add my parts. And so at this time, I'm going to I think by now I'll have been showed you the timelines. At this time, man, this is what I was given. Now, I'm going to say this. In the interview with Abdul and in the interview with me, I can't speak on anybody else because that information wasn't given to me. And so in our interviews, we were saying things that were more conducive. We said more things that better fits the next one than fit this one. And so a lot of the interviews with he and I, most of that footage, man, it didn't make the first one because it really didn't fit. We were on something else. We was on another time. We was on a different time. And so that's why our stuff is not in it. But man, to take out people like Weasel, to take out, all of the contextual information about what really happened, man, I protested. I was like, hey man, what the hell? Where is all of the rest of the information? I'm like, man, why are you leaving this out? You can't leave this out. And so it was told to me, hey man, we're going to do two versions. We're going to do this short one and then we're going to do the full one. And so I was like, okay, cool. Okay, cool. If anybody took anything out of the video, it was not Supreme, it was Toonz. Supreme didn't have the files. I didn't have the files to be taking somebody out of, and I would never do that. Any of the clients that if you go to the YouTube page for the UBN, it used to be called Stillwater's Media Lab, but I just recently changed the name because I was changing, everything to fit the UBN. So I changed the name of the YouTube page, everything, Instagram, all of that. And if you go on there, the reason why I have the data, the clips that you see up there, man, I was using YouTube as a way to show clients, how far I had progressed in whatever I was working on for them. That's why that stuff is up there. I never used YouTube like that. And so my point in bringing that up is this: go on there. You'll see a lot of my clients, and none of them will ever tell you that, man, Siyf took this out and I didn't ask him to, or Siyf put this in and I didn't tell him to, or Siyf did this, or Siyf, man, I would never do that to anybody's video. I would never strong arm your media to do that. It's unprofessional. And so, and it's that's, anyway, nobody took anybody out outside of Toonz. He had the hard drive. Whether or not he was holding it over Supreme's head or not, it looks that way. And Supreme believes that. The video, it's taken 2 years to come, and then he said that it takes 2 years to produce something like this. It really depends. It don't take no 2 years, man. Now, to their defense, both Toonz and Supreme, this is their first time doing something like this. For someone who's doing it for the first time, yeah, it might take 2 years. When you look at the situation out in Hollywood, one of the reasons why it takes a year, 2 years to make something happen is because of scheduling. But when they get in what they call that thing, when they're moving, man, it takes no more than 3 weeks to shoot a major motion picture. I did this documentary, and with the help of one person, it took me about 5 weeks to do it. And the reason why it took that long is because I had to go to different places around the state. I had to go to Texas A&M, interview somebody over there. I had to go to San Antonio to interview some people out there. I had to go to I had to travel to different cities to interview a lot of these different subjects. And then I had to finish it and then take it to Dallas so that it was ready for their annual convention. And it took me 5 weeks. And so it doesn't take no 2 years.
And let me go a step further, right? Y'all seen Brother Abdul Chappelle on my platform. I posted him on my Instagram and my YouTube. He went viral. Talking about Charleston White, first founder of the first Texas-based Crip set. Such a good nigga. Such a good nigga. Larry Siyf is from the same hood as Abdul. So when I met Abdul at my studio, First and Third Business, when I met Abdul in my studio, he came and I interviewed him. He was telling me about the Brothers Network and shit like that, and I was considering it. And he sent me some links. I'm knowing you from, and Abdul, he knows some people who I would consider good people. So off the top, I'm looking at Abdul like, man, this nigga is really about his community work. This nigga is, so I treat Siyf with the same kind of a OG, big brother, somebody who you can look to that'll give you some game. Siyf is also very wise, but it's like then you do this snake ass shit with some. It's just a fucked up situation in general.
I produced a video for a couple who founded a school down in Baytown. The couple are going through a divorce. This is going on right now. And so in one of the interviews that we conducted with them, there was some things that was said that may or may not be harmful to, either one of them. They're going through a divorce. Well, One of them contacted us and said, hey, I need a copy of that footage. I sent it to them. They're the client. And then the other one subsequently called, say, hey, I need a copy of the footage. Send it to them. They are the client. And so what happened here when Supreme started explaining to me what was going on, and he did it in just a really tasteful manner. He didn't slander the man's name. He didn't talk bad about the man. He just thought, hey man, we're having a issue right now, and this, that, and the third is going on, and your name came up. I saw your name in the credits. I was like, okay, what's going on? He said, man, the man called me and told me, hey man, there's a $3,000 bill that has to be paid or the documentary is not going to come out. And he said that Toonz told him, hey, you need to pay $1,500 of the $3,000 bill, 50-50. That's an important point, because Toonz is telling everybody that it's his project. And the whole time it was presented to me as a 50-50 partnership on this thing, and that they both produced it. That's the way it's been presented to me, from the first conversation all the way up until the point that the trailer is about to drop, right? So he talking about Supreme. Supreme was like, whoa, wait a minute, $1,500 for for what? And the man go off on him. Now we had a conversation, and see, he was telling me that it was like I was seeing some things to happen, because all of this is going on around me, and I'm out of the loop. And so I was explaining to him that a lot of the situations I've been involved in, man, we'll get all the way up to, we'll get through planning everything, and then we'll get all the way up to the point where we start talking about the money. And when you start talking about the money, people just stop listening because they don't want to pay for it out of their pocket. I have yet to work with one of us and get past the part of the conversation where I can talk about the green lighting process. And so I'm explaining this to Toonz. I'm like, look, man, this stuff costs money. And, when you start talking about money, that can make things come unglued, because a lot of people think that you're supposed to pay for this out of your own pocket. He was quiet. He's listening. And so I say, nah, man, you don't pay for this out of your own pocket. Man, even in Hollywood, they don't do that. They do what's called the green lighting process, where they have people who actively go out and find funding. There's the first part of the funding to get the ball rolling and so on and so forth. But then you get to the back end, and I'm summarizing. You get to the back end, there are other opportunities. The back end of the planning process. There are other opportunities that pop up to where you can go out and find the money. Them people don't dig in their own pocket for these projects. It's only the newcomers, the new money, who pay for this stuff out of their pocket, because they don't want to go through that process, because it can begin to take some time. And so I was telling them, look, you don't have to pay for this out of your own pocket. And when you get to that part of these projects and you start talking about the money, it can make things come unglued. And so he was like, yeah, man, I can really relate to what you're saying. And so at the time, this thing between Supreme and Toonz is falling apart, because Toonz called him, said that it was a $3,000 bill. As a good business person, Supreme was like, God damn, $1,500, where the invoice is at? What am I paying for? And Toonz, the way I understand it, because this is not, this is what was told to me. the man came unglued, and that's when everything unraveled because they started talking about the money. And so um, there was a discrepancy as to how much was paid out. I don't know their business like that. I know what my invoice said. My invoice, I'm not even gonna put my prices out there, but it wasn't nowhere near $1,500. It wasn't no 3,000, no 1,500. It was nowhere near that. And he was saying that he, paid, and who knows, he might have paid some stuff in the past. I don't know, but a $3,000 bill related to me and another individual, man, it just didn't happen that way. He called a man trying to get some money out the man, and the man was like, "Hey man, where the invoice is at? Let me see what I'm paying for." And that's what made everything start to unravel. And so, um, when that started happening, that's when Supreme started explaining to me what was, happening. Um, I didn't really have any information from Toonz as to what was going on, but looking back at the situation, it went from, them two together, and then at this point where the falling out about the money took place, now it's Toonz project. He didn't come out of his face and say it's Toonz project. He didn't say that. But at this point, he stopped mentioning Supreme, and he started saying, "Well, my project, my project." And on several occasions, I was like, "Nah, this is y'all's project." I don't know why I was saying that, but I was like, "Nah, this is y'all's." I think I got it in a text message. We gonna look at the text messages and see. But yeah, man, the it turned into a situation where this man, he's the one who started saying it was his. Supreme couldn't have started that. He didn't have the files. I was the only person outside of Toonz that I know of that had the project like that, and I just had I didn't have all of the rest of the footage, the stuff that was taken out. I've never had that footage. And so there's no way for me to make an alternative edit or to anything like that. And so once the project was starting to once it was time for me to do the audio, man, I was doing the audio for what I was given. I didn't change the timeline except to add my part. That was it. So it's not Supreme. Supreme didn't, man, and then the whole so as I was starting to get more information, I was like, you know what, I'm finna back up and I don't want to be in the middle of this. And so what I did is I gave Supreme the project, and then I was trying to give the project to Toonz. I was trying to give it to both of them at the same time. Toonz was, in Houston. I think he lives in Atascocita. I think that's where he said he had just got a spot at. He's down 45 out there, close to Houston. And so I tried to upload it, but with my TV station going out and my radio stations going out, and then my son, I got a son in the next room. He's a gamer. He's pulling on the data. We got excellent internet here, but we use it. We pay for what we actually need. We don't settle. We pay for what we actually need. And to move a project like that, we're gonna look at the size of it. It's more than 300 gigabytes. That's a lot of data. I couldn't move it like that, and so I tried, different ways to get it up to 300 gigabytes. That's a lot. That's a lot of data. And so finally, I told him, "Look, man, you're gonna have to come get it." And then him saying that I became, man, we can look at the phone records. I didn't, and my wife will tell you, I don't delete text messages. I don't, none of that. I don't delete that kind of stuff. text messages, phone records, and all of that. I got everything. And so he said that he was calling me, which he was. But man, at the time, see, everyone who knows me, they know that we're going through a situation with our car. When he was calling me, I was out under the car, fixing on the car. And then other times he's calling me, man, I'm out, working. I'm not finna stop working to answer the damn phone. I do call back. Everybody who called me, they know that. And so, him saying that I became unresponsive and that, I was, dodging him and that's not his word, but that's what he's saying, that I was, man, that's not the case. And so the second time that I got verbally aggressive with the dude, this dude do a pop-up at my house. My mom and daddy don't pop up at my house. He popped up at my house, and I checked his ass about that. You don't come to my house. This dude he's throwing rocks, putting his hands behind his back, and playing the victim. He's not the victim. He's not.